The desolate road to stardom is paved with the bodies of thousands of dreamers who couldn't make the cut. It's a road full of exhilarating highs and depressing lows. Tonight, on Behind the Music, we tell the story of Simply Sara, one of rock music's greatest cover bands. As the 21st century's nu metal wave began, and the rock music scene continued to grind out anger and angst, Ryan Smith had an idea that would take him from Columbia, Missouri to the top of the music industry, and then throw him right back down to Columbia, Missouri.
So I was lying in bed listening to the radio, and I was wondering, why is there so much hate? What we need is love. And then I said, if a hero can save us, I'm not going to stand here and wait.
Smith, who had no songwriting ability of his own, decided to spread a positive message of love by starting a cover band. But this would be no ordinary cover band.
We wanted to be a little bit different than most cover bands. You see, most cover bands do lots of different artists. Instead, we decided just to do Sarah McLachlan music. The name, Simply Sara.
With the name and the concept figured out, Smith put an ad in the ad sheet in search of fellow musicians. Keyboardist Rocky Fiddle was intrigued.
The idea of a band created solely to play one musician's songs really jives with me. It's a total deconstruction of the archetype of the rock music landscape. Plus, chicks dig that stuff.
You know, people often come up to me and ask me, why Sarah McLachlan? And I say, do I know you? And they say, no. So I say, well, she's better than Jewel.
Smith and Biddle set out to make a name for themselves in Columbia, but what they found was a club scene crowded by other cover acts.
You had Limp Bizkit, Blink 90210, Washington Park.
The Doug Matthews Band, Puddle of Fudge.
But the boys found the break they needed in the form of a little divine intervention.
So I go to this church called The Rock, and I remember asking the pastor if we could play Sarah McLachlan songs sometime.
We begged.
I don't think he was sold on it, but then we played Building a Mystery.
The crowd went nuts, and Simply Sara had the break it was looking for. News quickly spread, and the band was playing to packed crowds all over Columbia. Gigs in Boonville, Moberly, even Kingdom City soon followed. But their rise to superstardom was just beginning. Local video producer Johnny Pez saw the group perform at the Blue Note and approached them backstage.
There was something about them, a charisma, a presence that said, put me in a rock music video and surround me with candles.
And Pez did just that. Soon, Simply Sara's Building a Mystery video found its way into the hands of MTV's Carson Daly. Before they knew what was happening, Smith and Biddle were appearing on TRL and starting the first leg of a major cross-country tour, where they were the headlining act. In 9 short months, Simply Sara had gone from being the pipe dream of a restless yet hopeful young man to becoming a major force in the record industry.
Sarah McLachlan cover bands were showing up everywhere. You had the Sarah Mac Attack and Sweetly Sarah.
Sarah sells seashells by the seashore.
There was even a band doing cover songs of us covering Sarah McLachlan. They were called Simply Sara.
While thousands of fans flocked to their shows, some people just didn't get it.
It never fails that some bozo in the crowd yells out, "Free Bird!"
Dude, it's like, okay, we're a Sarah McLachlan cover band, and to my knowledge, Sarah has never covered any Lynyrd Skynyrd stuff. Now, if someone were to request, I Will Remember You, we'd be all over that.
But in the music world, life is often like a box of chocolates. You never know when it will be left out in the sun and melt all over the place, causing a big, sticky mess.
You know, on tour, we just have a lot of time to listen to music. So I started thinking, maybe Simply Sara should branch out a little bit. Spread our wings.
One day, during rehearsal, Smith busted loose on Sugar Ray's I Wanna Fly. It was not well received.
I said, "What the heck are you doing?" He said, "Let's try something new." But I told him, I got into this band to play Sarah McLachlan songs. Our band is Simply Sara, not Simply Sara and the Teen Heartthrob of the Month.
Perturbed, Smith walked off the stage. The show, scheduled that night in Hays, Kansas, would not go on. The runaway train of success that was Simply Sara had come to a screeching halt. Simply Sarah was now simply separated. As Smith plotted his next move, Biddle was left to face his demons. In order to cope with his meteoric rise to stardom, Biddle had developed a dependence on Sobe.
I'd have 2 before the show, and another one before the encore, then 3 or 4 more after. And the next day, I'd do it again. I just couldn't stop.
As Biddle checked into rehab, Smith came back with a repackaged look. Discarding what he felt were the shackles of Simply Sarah, he started a new cover band, one that would play just Sugar Ray songs. The name? Sweet Sassy Molassie. Despite significant hype from the music press and a slew of magazine covers, the fans didn't respond. Sweet Sassy Molassie was not well received.
I don't know. I just really thought this thing would catch on, but I think the public just wasn't ready to see me in this new light. They wanted Simply Sarah.
Sweet Sassy Molassie hit rock bottom one night when Smith, singing his rendition of Fly, leaped into the crowd, and the crowd moved out of the way. Meanwhile, Biddle was out of rehab and busy trying to revive Simply Sarah. He quickly hired a frontman to replace Smith, Saved by the Bell's Dustin Diamond.
He had the star power I felt we needed to keep us going. Plus, I thought maybe he could introduce me to Tiffany Amber Thiessen.
But Simply Sarah's new look never got off the ground.
Screech got offered a role on some new NBC crime drama. He'll be working with Matt LeBlanc and Judge Reinhold. I mean, you just can't pass that up.
Smith and Biddle found themselves without a band, and worse yet, without each other.
And I think what I realized after Simply Sarah broke up is that it wasn't just about the music. It was about the band. It was about the connection we had. It was about the fans. It was about supporting the troops.
The duo reunited, firm in their commitment to take Simply Sarah back to the top and re-establish their place at the top of the charts. With nowhere else to turn, Smith went back to the place that started it all.
Then when we found out The Rock was having this North Central Missouri music team idol contest.
And I figured if we could go in there and win that thing, we could get Simply Sarah back where it belongs, to the top.
Smith did well enough to advance to the finals.
Yeah, it's nice to be recognized for my talent, but it's just good to have Simply Sarah back into the public eye.
We're ready to move forward.
The story of Simply Sarah is not for those with a weak stomach. It is the story of an optimistic young duo with a dream who climbed the stairway of fame only to fall down the elevator shaft of despair and addiction. Where the story goes from here is anyone's guess, but Smith sees bright days ahead.
As Sarah says, "Oh, the sea of waking dreams, I follow without pride. Nothing stands between us here, and I will not be denied."